recited their vows 4.5 months ago, Marie and Danny Valdez. Couple number 3 joined together 15 months ago, Kim and Robert Garcia. And couple number 4 made it official 6 months ago, Jessica and Doug Rockbaum. And now, here's the star of the Newlywed Game, Bob Eubanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Newlywed Game. Hey, couples, you ready to play?
Yeah!
Good. We've got 4 lively couples. We're going to start the show off by asking the husbands some questions. So, ladies, if you would, off to the soundproof room, okay? And while the ladies are leaving, I'd like to remind our husbands, I'll be asking you some 5-point questions. Remember now, you'll be answering these questions as you predict your wife will answer the same question when she returns. And if her answer matches your prediction, you then get 5 points. The couple with the most points at the end of the show wins a fabulous second honeymoon. So, gentlemen, here is your first question. Tell me, how many whoopee sessions will your wife say you two had before you met her mother? Under 5, over 10, over 20, or too many to remember? Doug, before you met her mother?
Before I met her mother, I'd have to say over 10.
Over 10?
Over 10, yeah.
Her mother know that?
No.
No.
Mother doesn't know
Okay. Robert?
I would have to say under 5.
Under 5 before you
Yeah.
met her mother?
I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Danny, what do you think?
I'd say over 10.
Over 10? You rascal, you?
Well, I try to be.
That away. Okay. James?
I'd say way too many to remember.
Oh, too many to remember. James. Next question, gentlemen. What will your wife say is the one thing you keep putting where you want it, but she keeps moving it where she wants it? The one thing, Robert, you keep putting where you want it, but she keeps moving it where she wants it.
Oh,
Yes.
I really don't even have an answer.
Well, yeah, come up with an answer for me, Robert.
I don't know. I guess the toothbrush is in the bathroom.
Toothbrush in the bathroom. Danny?
I'd say the remote controls.
The remote control. James?
I'd say the house keys.
The house keys.
House and car keys,
She
yes,
keeps
definitely.
moving those things, all right? House keys or car? You said no.
House keys.
House keys, okay. Doug?
Mail. The mail's always in a different place.
The mail. All right, next question, gentlemen. How will your wife say you would complete this sentence? This is you talking. My wife makes the strangest face whenever she does what? She makes the strangest face, Danny, whenever she does what?
I'd say passes gas.
Oh, okay.
It's not
You don't
that
need to say
often.
any more.
It's not that often.
I understand. James?
I'd say whenever she doesn't quite understand something that's.
When she doesn't understand something.
Yeah.
Okay, Doug?
Whenever she gets a little upset with me or gives me that look, just...
Whenever she gets mad or
Yeah,
upset
just
with
a
you.
little
all right?
upset.
And Robert?
Whenever she's trying to put her foot down and trying to win something.
When she's trying to win an argument.
Yeah,
All right,
that's it.
gentlemen, thank you. We'll be right back to reunite these newlyweds. We'll see how well our husbands have predicted, what their wives will say right after these messages. 8-second honeymoon. So you really got something nice to play for. And here we go with your first question. Ladies, how many whoopee sessions did the two of you have before your husband met your mother? Too many to remember? Over 20? Over 10? Or under 5? This is before he met your mom, Evie.
Too many to remember.
Really? Too
We
many
live-
to remember?
We live together.
Does your
but-
mom know that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. James predicted you would say just the top one. Too many to remember. Yeah. Okay. Marie.
Definitely too many to remember.
Definitely
Yeah,
too
I
many
think
to
so,
remember.
yeah.
Your husband said for sure over 10.
What are you talking about?
Well, I met your mom that one
knows.
time, but we didn't really.
Mom knows.
Mom knows now, yeah.
She knows now.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think here, Kim?
I would say too many to remember.
Too many to remember. Your husband said under 5.
Oh, okay.
We didn't just jump at it. We
Well, wait a minute now.
took our time with the relationship.
She said too many. You said under 5. Now,
Yeah, I remember starting out really slow.
before you met her mom, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
And your wife said too many to remember.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you left a lasting impression, didn't you? Jessica, would it be too many to remember, over 20, over 10, or under 5?
I would have to say over 20?
Over 20. He said over 10. Over 10.
Over 10.
Yeah.
That wasn't-
I met your mom at the Christmas party.
That's
so
right. You met her, yeah. He met
Okay.
my mom real
Real early in the
real early
real
then.
early in the relationship.
Pardon me?
He He met my mom real early in the relationship. So.
Oh, all right, fine. Next question, ladies. What's the one thing your husband keeps putting where he wants it, but you keep moving it where you want it? One thing. What would that be, Marie?
The cordless phone.
Cordless phone. He predicted you would say the remote controls.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
darn.
I always lose those.
You always move it.
I always
Yeah.
do. That's right.
And then you can't find it,
That's
right?
right. They're under the couch.
I understand. Kim, the one thing that he
I would
keeps
say
putting where
his
he wants it.
shoes.
Pardon me?
I would say his shoes.
His shoes. He predicted you would say, no, the toothbrush.
The toothbrush.
Don't
Your
even
toothbrush
ask.
stays on the wall.
Jessica,
Well,
I'd have to say all of his junk, his stuff. He keeps all of his stuff all
be
over
more specific
everywhere.
than that now. What do you mean?
His work stuff, all of his
His work
papers.
stuff, all right? He says that he keeps putting the mail where he wants it, and you keep putting it where you want it.
Well, close.
Most of my
stuff is
All of
mail.
it.
He's usually really good with putting stuff the right place. Usually he's the one cleaning up after me. I would probably say the key to the mailbox.
Key
It
to the
always
mailbox.
disappears.
All right. James predicted you would say, no, it's the house key that he keeps. Oh, darn. Next question, ladies. How did your husband complete this sentence? This is him talking. My wife makes the strangest face whenever she does what? You make the strangest face, Kim, whenever you do what?
Watch TV.
Watch television. He said you make the strangest face whenever you try to win an argument. Mm-hmm. Put the old
face
foot
do I
down.
make?
every time you make a different face because you're frustrated.
What's she look like when she's mad?
Oh, like just really
Jessica.
angry.
Definitely when I get angry.
It makes when you ever get angry. He said you make the strangest face whenever you get upset with him. Okay, Judge? Judge says sure. All right. Evie.
I forgot the question.
Pardon me?
I forgot the question.
Oh, the question is, my wife makes the strangest face whenever she does what?
I always make funny faces.
Whenever you do what? Hurry, please.
Whenever I get mad at him.
Whenever you get mad at him. James said you make the strangest face whenever you don't understand something, like this question. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Marie, what do you think?
I always make faces.
Yeah.
I say when we're playing with our daughter.
Play with your daughter. He said you make the strangest face whenever you pass gas. We'll be right back to see how well the wives can predict what their husbands will say right after these messages. Already knows every detail or doesn't want to talk about it in detail. Kim?
I would say he doesn't want to talk.
He doesn't want to talk about it.
No.
Does he know much?
He knows a little bit. I think that's why he doesn't want to know
Yeah.
the details.
Gave him a little taste of it. He doesn't want to hear any more. Is that it? Okay. Marie?
Yeah, we were friends before, so he knows everything.
He
Yeah.
knows. He already knows every detail.
Yeah.
Really? Evie?
Definitely not. He don't want to know anything.
He doesn't want to talk about it?
Never talk about it.
Never.
Never.
Have you told him anything?
I am trying, but I had relationships back home in Denmark.
Yeah.
And he don't know about him. He don't want to know about him, and that's it.
Jessica?
He knows every detail. I tell him a lot. We talk about everything. So
He already knows every detail.
I would think so.
Really? Okay, next question, ladies. What will your husband say is the last thing you caught him doing in front of the mirror that he never expected to get caught doing? Marie?
He has this thing with nose hairs, so I think maybe picking his nose.
That's what you call getting even, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So he was futzing with his nose hairs
Yeah.
there. Okay. Evie?
He's definitely going to kill me for this one, picking his nose.
You're kidding me. Oh, my goodness. Jessica?
Probably just putting his hands through his hair. He's always looking at himself in the mirror.
Putting his hands to his hair, kind
Yeah,
of primping of it.
combing
Okay.
his hair.
Kim, what was it?
He was probably primping.
He was primping.
Yeah.
What does he look like when he primps? What does he do?
Oh, he just kind of checks himself out from every angle.
Oh,
and,
no kidding.
Yeah.
All right. Does he think he's good looking?
He knows.
Oh, he knows he's good
Yeah.
looking. Next question, ladies. How will your husband say you would complete this sentence? This is you talking. If my husband lost a bet and agreed to be my love slave for 24 hours, the reality is that he'd probably only last about how long? Evie?
3 hours.
It'd only last 3 hours out of 24.
Oh, let's say 10.
Oh, he'd last 10 hours.
Yeah,
Really?
he's damn good. Maybe I should go 15.
Is that Danish? Guess not. Okay, Jessica, he loses a bet. He becomes your love slave for 24 hours. The reality is he'd only last how long?
6 hours?
6 hours.
Yeah.
Really?
He'd want his turn.
Okay, Kim, how long would he last?
I would say about 8 hours.
Are you kidding me?
Well,
Woo!
I need to boost his ego too. I don't want him to.
Oh, yeah, that's
To
right.
be
He does
too
have an ego. I
bruised.
forgot. Yeah. Marie, you're his love slave, okay? Now, and he's your love slave for 24 hours. But the reality is he'd only last.
I'd say, well, he's pretty good, so maybe about 8 hours.
He would last 8 hours?
Yeah,
Wow.
8 hours.
I'm impressed. Ladies, 25-point bonus question. Will your husband say his favorite juice flavor? His favorite juice flavor is apple, orange, cranberry, grapefruit, or something else? Jessica?
Something else.
Something else, Kim?
Apple.
Apple. Marie?
Orange juice.
Orange juice. Evie?
Orange juice.
Orange. Ladies, thank you. We'll be back with the husbands to compare answers. What do you think, Danny?
Definitely know every detail.
You know every detail. She said you definitely already know. That's right. Okay. Were you threatened by it, Danny?
No, we were actually friends when we first met.
All right. Good. Robert?
I would
you
have.
already know, want to know, or you don't want to talk about it?
I don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk about it?
No, I don't.
How
wanna,
come?
Oh, because if I ever run into him,
Oh, all right. She said that card, please. Now, you don't want to talk about it. That's right. Good. Hey, Doug.
We're open. I'd say I know everything.
You know everything.
Yeah, I know everything.
You already know. She said for sure that you already know. Okay? And James.
I don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk about it?
I don't want to talk about it.
All right, she said that. Yeah, you don't want to talk about it. Good. Everybody got that one right. Next question, gentlemen. Tell me, what's the last thing your wife caught you doing in front of a mirror that you never expected to get caught doing? Robert?
be looking at myself.
What do you mean?
I guess checking myself out.
What do you check out?
Just make sure everything's looking all right.
Do you think everything's looking all right?
Yeah, almost.
You think you're good looking?
Almost. Yeah.
Kim says.
Yeah.
Kim says, yeah, you're primping. Yeah, you got it. Okay. What do you think, Doug? Something she caught you doing in front of the mirror that you never expected to get caught doing.
She always teases me about looking in the mirror. She always tells me, "You look fine." You know, just.
So what do you do?
I just, if there's a mirror around, I just make sure that my stomach's not too big. If I need to work out or my hair's right.
So you just kind of what?
I'm just trying to make, checking myself out.
Checking yourself out. All right. She said that she caught you running your hands through your hair. Judge, are we going to? Yeah, that's okay, sure. All right. You guys got quite egos. James.
I guess
Yes.
playing with our guinea pig. I don't know.
Pardon me, sir?
We have a guinea pig.
So
And,
you stand in front of the mirror and play with the guinea pig?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
I mean, I have to take your answer.
Okay.
You play with your guinea pig. What's
I
your guinea
have.
pig's name?
Chubby.
Chubby. So you and Chubby just stand there in front of the mirror?
Sure, why not? We hang out.
Yeah, just hang out. Just you and Chub. Yeah. How do you play with a guinea pig?
I don't know. Sometimes I'll let him run around on the floor, or we hold him and give him a bath. And
Oh,
all
you give him a
kinds of stuff.
bath?
Yeah.
Oh.
He gets stinky, too.
Oh, he gets stinky, huh? All right, she said she caught you picking at your nose in front of the mirror.
What?
I know. I said you were going to kill me for that one,
Okay.
too.
Yeah. Danny?
I'd have to go with dancing with our baby daughter.
You're dancing with your daughter. All right. Maria said in front of the mirror she caught you fussing with the nose hairs.
Oh.
And the dry, you always have dry right here, and you're always.
What's he do?
He gets dry, and the nose, he always messes with it. Always.
Really?
Well, you got to keep your nose in order, but
You got to keep your guinea pig clean, too.
That's true.
Yeah, don't ever forget that. Next question, gentlemen. How did your wife complete this sentence? This is her talking. If my husband lost a bet and agreed to be my love slave for 24 hours, the reality is that he'd probably only last about how long? Okay, you lost a bet now, Doug, and you agreed to be her love slave for 24 hours. She said the reality is you'd really only last how long?
12 hours.
12 hours?
Out of 24, halfway.
Well, you do stand in front of the mirror, don't you?
Yeah.
All right, she said you'd last, probably 6 hours of that.
Well,
You'd want your turn, Doug.
I asked Joey.
Yeah, that's all right. James, you're her love slave for 24 hours. She said, however, the reality is you'd only last how long?
3 hours.
3 hours. Okay. She said you'd last about 10 hours. What What do you think about this, Danny?
Well, I'm gonna just have to go with 5 hours.
How come? We got a little problem at your house?
No, I think I can make it the full 24.
Oh,
but
you
I think
do
she'd
not.
say something like 5.
You think you could make 24 hours?
I think I could.
Yeah, right.
I'm
Okay,
fairly
she
confident.
predicted you would say, pardon me? Nah, she said you'd last about 8 hours, if that. Yeah, 24 hours. Come on.
Sold myself short, I guess.
Yeah. What do you think, Robert?
I would say 2 hours.
See, now there's an honest man. Now there's a guy that the rest of us in the audience are going, yeah, that's about right.
If that.
If that. That's
If
right.
that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Kim said you'd probably last about 8 hours. Phew. You see, I don't think she meant it. She just said, you know, you've got an ego, so we've got to feed the ego a little bit. Okay, before we get to our 25-point bonus question, let's see where our winning couple will be going on their second honeymoon. Take a look.
You're going on a fabulous trip to Barbados. A 6-night all-inclusive vacation at Almond Beach Resorts in Barbados. Gourmet dining, 3 pools, water sports, piano bar, and entertainment. A true romantic getaway. Almond Beach Resorts, Barbados. Good luck, everybody. Back to you, Bob.
Thank you, Mr. Kramer. That's our wonderful announcer, John Kramer, who always says Barbados. Are you ready? Here's our 25-point bonus question. Gentlemen, is your favorite juice flavor orange, grapefruit, cranberry, apple, or something else? And let's go first to couple number 2. Danny and Marie, you have 10. 25 would give you 35. If you get it right, you'll be in first place, Danny. If you miss it, Danny, you have the distinction of going home in last place.
Very nice. I'll
Thank
go
you.
with orange.
Orange. She said orange. Yes, you got it right. Okay. All right, couple number 1, James and Evie Sampson with 15. 25 would give you 40. James, same kind of a situation. You get it right, you're in first place. If you miss it, you go home in last place.
Definitely orange.
Definitely orange. She said, yeah, that's what it is. It's orange. Sure. Couple 3, Robert and Kim Garcia with 20. 25 gives you 45. Here we go again, Robert. If you get it right, you're in first place.
Apple.
Apple. She said it would be apple. Yeah. Okay. Couple number 4. Doug and Jessica with 25. 25 will give you 50. Doug, if you get it right, you and your wife are on your way to Barbados. If you don't get it right, you and your wife are on your way home, and she's going to be really mad.
What are my choices? I missed. What are the choices again? Just
The
real quick.
choices are orange, grapefruit, cranberry, apple, or something else.
Something else.
Something else. She said, something else. Yeah. And Doug and Jessica Rockman, you're our Newlywed Game grand prize winners. Well, thanks to all of our couples. Thanks to you. I'm Bob Eubanks. Hey, we'll see you next time on the Newlywed Game. Bye-bye.
And Michael Adolphus. Our next couple recited their vows 5 months ago, Denise and Lou Austin. This couple joined together 14 months ago, Carolyn and Wendell Slate. And our final couple made it official 17 months ago, Jackie and Mark Hoke. And now, here's the star of the Newlywed Game, Bob Eubanks.
Hey. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Newlywed Game. Hey. Hello, couples. You ready to play the game? Yeah. Well, I tell you what, ladies, if you would please go off to the soundproof booth, and while you're gone, we'll ask the husband some questions, okay? There they go. And gentlemen, in round 1, we'll be asking you some 5-point questions. You'll be answering these questions as you predict your wife will answer the same question when she returns. Don't forget, too, if her answer matches your prediction, you then get 5 points. And remember also, each correct prediction brings you that much closer to that fabulous second honeymoon. Gentlemen, if you're ready, here's our first question. Gentlemen, will your wife say she typically gets cruised more by men at church, at the office, or in her car? Mark?
Yeah, she teaches, so she works with mostly women, so I'd have to say in her car.
In her car. All right, fine. Lou?
I would say Bob in the office.
The
she works
office?
in
Yeah, they kind of look her over in the office, huh?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Michael?
I would have to say in her car.
In her car, she
Yeah.
gets cruised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She always have a story for me.
Tells you, huh?
Yeah.
All right, Wendell?
I'd say in the car, too.
In the car.
Yeah.
All right, next question, gentlemen. Which restaurant will your wife say has the most delicious waitresses? What do you think, Lou?
Black Angus.
Black Angus, delicious waitresses, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Michael?
I would have to say Applebee's.
Applebee's. Wendell?
I'd say El Gato's.
El Gato. All right. Is that like El Gato?
Pretty close.
Yeah,
Pretty
figured
close.
so. Order yourself a couple of those tacos down there at El Gato's. Yeah. Mark?
I'm going to have to say the more obvious answer, Hooters.
Hooters. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Next question. Next question, gentlemen. How will your wife say you would complete this sentence? This is you talking. My wife would know that if I told her I thought her blank was sexy, that I'd be lying through my teeth. She would know, Michael, if you told her blank was sexy, you'd be lying through your teeth.
Her feet.
Her feet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Bad-looking feet.
Not bad looking, but they could be improved.
I understand. Wendell?
I'm going to get in trouble on that one, aren't I?
We hope so.
Yeah.
I've never seen a couple leave here together, so you know how it goes.
Yeah.
What's your answer here, Wendell?
I would say her ears.
Her ears. Woo-hoo. Call a man a cab. Mark?
I'm going to have to say her hands. She's only 24, but she's got the hands of like an 80-year-old woman. Right away. In a good way.
Well, you got the head of an 80-year-old man. Lou?
I want to have to say her upper body, her breast.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. We'll be right back to reunite these newlyweds. We'll see how on our husbands.
Match game and Family Feud military episodes.
My sergeant is really tough. He can do push-ups with his privates.
Buzzers salute to veterans.
There's a lot of flag waving out there.
November 11th on Buzzer. At ease, soldier.
Something a soldier might have to go without.
Toilet paper.
And let's play.
And welcome back, everybody. Okay, gentlemen, we've recorded your predictions on cards. You now have them in front of you. Each time that your prediction matches your wife's answer, you get 5 points. One couple with the most points at the end of the show wins an incredible second honeymoon. So, ladies, nice to have you back. Here's our first question. Tell me, ladies, would you say that you typically get cruised more by men when you're in your car, at church, or at the office? Carolyn, when do you get cruised by men?
Oh, definitely at the office.
At the office you do?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Really?
Oh, yes. Because I'm an entertainer, I play piano, and I'm up there, and that's my job is to flirt with everybody.
Is that right?
To make
Is that
them
how
think-
you hook Wendell?
That's how I hooked Wendell, yeah.
Well, he just, no kidding. All right, Wendell said you get cruised more in your car.
In my car?
You don't work in an office.
I don't even have a car.
You don't.
What's with you?
You don't work in an office.
Oh, Wendell, you're so stupid. Doesn't even have a car.
Well, she doesn't have an office either.
Wow. Sherelle,
I'll have to say in my car.
you get cruised in the car?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if I see a nice looking guy, I'll look over.
Is
like,
that right?
Yeah.
Are you driving one of those man magnets, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Definitely.
Michael said you get cruised definitely in your car. Yeah. Denise,
Well, I can't say the office, so I'll have to say my car.
in your car. He said you get cruised at the office.
Oh, you know where I work?
Why don't you get? Why couldn't you say the office?
Because where I work, it's just you can't say that.
I don't understand.
I work in West Hollywood. What can I say? I mean, that answers
Now I
it.
understand.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Jackie.
I would definitely, I'd say my car because I'm a teacher and there hardly are any men.
You
in
get
my
cruised in your car.
in my
All
car.
right. He predicted you would say you definitely get cruised in your car. Yeah. Next question, ladies, tell me, which restaurant would you say has the most delicious waitresses? Which restaurant has the most delicious waitresses? Sherelle, what do you think Michael said?
I would have to say Red Lobster.
Red Lobster.
Yeah.
Ho, 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 ho.
'Cause we always go there and he tries to check out the women, but I don't let him.
No.
No.
No. Okay. Michael said it's Applebee's. That's where he checks them out.
Applebee's?
I didn't know, man. Denise.
Black Angus.
Black. Really?
Yep.
Delicious.
It's my favorite place.
Pardon me?
It's my favorite place to
They're
go.
delicious
Prime rib.
waitresses, huh?
Well, it's my favorite place. I don't care about that.
He said the most delicious waitresses are at Black Angus.
Yeah!
Right. Hey, Jackie, what do you think?
You know what? We've never been here, but I know he's going to say Hooters.
What?
Would you say Hooters? Because they are. I mean,
Hooters?
they're known for their waitresses.
They
Hello.
are.
Well, maybe
You know what
he's
your
mad if
husband
I don't
said?
know about it.
Your husband said, card, please. Hooters, yeah. Carolyn,
Well, I'll have to say Old Spaghetti Factory.
the old spaghetti factory? Woo, boy, he takes you to romantic places, doesn't he? Yeah. Wendell said, El Gatos. El Gatos, he said.
Spaghetti factory. They don't even have good-looking women.
Yeah. They don't have good-looking women in spaghetti.
No.
Boy, you're a man about town, Wendell. You are. Here's the last of our 5-point questions. Ladies, how would your husband complete this sentence? This is him talking. My wife would know that if I told her I thought her blank was sexy, I would be lying through my teeth. Denise, if he told you that he thought your blank was sexy, he would be lying through his teeth.
My breast.
All right, he predicted you would say, card for me, please, there, Lou. Hold it up. Yeah, that's what he said.
Yep.
What do you mean, yep?
Because I don't have any.
You don't have any.
Pardon me?
I don't have any.
I'm sorry.
So am I.
Oh. Jackie.
I think this is a thing we talk about all the time. He would say, my little toes.
Your little toes. All right, he predicted that if he told you. Yeah. Mark, hold up the card, Mark.
Really worse, huh?
No, your hands. He said you
How
have hands of
many
an
times-
80-year-old
I
woman.
do. That's so true. Don't show him, though.
I don't know how many times I've said that to her. Her hands
I
are,
do.
they're
I
all
have-
wrinkled and, I don't know, they're just old.
No, I do. I have really old hands for my age.
Do we want to
It runs
talk?
in the family. I don't know.
Do you want to talk about his head while we're all listening?
Yeah! I hope that's another question.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think, Carolyn? If he told you had that your what was sexy, he'd be lying through his teeth.
My stomach.
Stomach. You know what he said? He didn't say stomach.
You didn't say so?
No, he said your ears.
My ears?
Yeah.
What's the matter with you? My goodness, what's wrong with my ears? Aren't they little tiny
Boy,
ears?
you're right, Wendell. Those suckers are big. Woo! Sherelle.
Okay, if he gets this one wrong, I'm going to bop him with this pillow.
Well, get your pillow ready just in case.
Okay, definitely my feet.
Your feet.
Yes.
You said definitely it is. Your feet. Yeah. Okay. We'll be back to see how well the wives can predict what their husbands will say right after these messages. It's your turn to predict what they will say. And remember, these are the 10-point questions. So here's our first one. Ladies, what sense of your husband's will he say you sometimes think he's losing? His common sense, his sense of adventure, or his sense of humor? Which one is he losing, Denise?
His common sense.
He's losing his common sense.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yes.
Sherelle?
Definitely his common sense, because sometimes the simplest things he doesn't even know.
He doesn't know the simplest
No.
things. Like what?
Like, what's your name?
Like what's your name?
Yeah.
Do you have to say Michael?
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
And
Okay.
slowly too.
Pardon me?
Slowly, like
Slowly,
Michael.
yes. Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. Carolyn, is he losing his common sense, his sense of adventure, or his sense of humor?
Sense of humor.
He's losing. Did he ever have one?
You know, I'm wondering. Let
Yeah,
me tell you,
I'll
because
tell you
he
what.
doesn't get a lot of jokes a lot of
No,
the
I
time.
can imagine. He's like watching paint
Even
dry.
my 5-year-old comes up and tells him a joke, and he just
Yeah. Well, I know. Yeah.
sense of humor. Then.
He's a little slow. Jackie.
I don't know if he'll say this, but this is the truth.
Yeah.
He's common sense.
He's losing his common sense.
Yeah, he
all right.
doesn't
Next question,
have
ladies. From the neck down, what will your husband say is the one place on his body you wish he had no hair? What do you think about this one, Sherelle?
His legs.
His legs?
Yes.
You don't want him to have any hair in his legs?
No, he has hairy legs and it's ugly.
Ugly?
Yeah.
Okay, Carolyn.
His back.
You got hair on his back? Well, of course, a guy with the name of Wendell's got to have hair on his back. Yeah. Jackie.
His back. He's
got hair on his back?
A lot of hair on his back.
Is that right? Well, he doesn't have any on his head.
I know. I tell him, take it off.
Just fell backwards, didn't it? Right there. Yeah. Denise.
I have to say his legs.
His legs.
Only because I can't say the other part.
Thank you. Next question. Ladies, think about this one now. If your husband was single, which male actor will he say he would most like to have an affair with if that actor was a woman? Carolyn?
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Your husband will... Wendell and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Boy, there's a pair to draw to, I'll tell you what. Jackie, which male actor would he like to have an affair with if the actor was a woman?
I think probably Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Okay. Denise.
Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Sherelle.
Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes. 25-point bonus question. Ladies, who will your husband say was president when he was born? Jackie, who will he say was president when he was born?
That's such a funny question because it was Nixon and he resigned the day after he was born.
He was Nixon. All right. Denise?
George Washington.
George Washington.
I have no idea.
I mean, I can
I'm so
understand. I can
sorry.
understand that for Wendell, but for Lou, I don't understand.
You don't know.
Sherelle?
Nixon.
Nixon.
Yeah.
Carolyn?
Eisenhower?
Probably so. We'll be right back now with the husbands to compare answers on the Newlywed Game right after these messages. Worth 10 points. Here's our first one. Gentlemen, what sense of yours would you say your wife sometimes thinks you're losing? Are you losing your sense of adventure, your sense of humor, or your common sense? Which one would that be, Michael?
I would have to go with my common sense.
Your common sense?
Yes.
Really? Why is that?
I don't know.
All right.
See what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you mean, Sherelle. Yeah, Sherelle said definitely it is your common sense.
Yeah.
Lou, which one you losing?
I think it'd be common sense.
Your
Bob.
common sense?
Yeah.
All right. She said definitely you're losing your common sense. Yeah. Mark.
She's going to say common sense, but...
Common sense, all right.
Yeah.
She said you're losing your common sense. Yeah. Wendell?
It's my sense of humor. She says I'm not smiling enough.
Sense
I
of
don't
humor.
do it.
She said it would be your sense of humor. Yeah.
Sometimes it's not bad to be in last place.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. You look nice in lipstick, Wendell. Next question, gentlemen. From the neck down, what would you say is the one place on your body your wife wishes you had no hair? Lou?
No hair? Oh, man, from a neck down?
That's what, it's the same question that I asked you, Lou.
Okay, from a neck down.
What do you think that would be, sir?
Well, I would think neck down, my chest.
Your chest, all right. She wishes you had no hair, card for me, please, on your leg.
You don't have any hair on your chest.
Well, that's true, but...
Mark.
My back. I look like a little Ewok from Return of the Jedi. I got hair.
She predicted you would say, you're back. Yeah. Okay. What do you think, Wendell?
I just want another kiss, so I want to get this right, you know. I would say I'll
You
have
got to
to
get
go-
something right to get a kiss, huh?
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Boy.
I'm going to say my back also.
Your back also, yeah. Okay. She said it would definitely be on his back, yeah. Boy, Wendell, if you get the bonus question right, no telling what could happen to you. Woo!
I can hardly wait.
Yeah. Michael.
I would have to go with my chest.
Your chest, all right? She said that she wishes you had no hair on your legs.
Oh.
You know how I always say you have hairy legs?
Right.
Next question. Gentlemen, think about this. This is a serious question. If you were single, which male actor would you most like to have an affair with if that actor was a woman? Now, Mark, this is your chance.
That's not even funny,
Mark, pardon me? What did you say?
That's not even funny. That's not a good question.
Oh. Well, why don't you answer this terrible old question then? If you were single, which male actor would you like to have an affair with if the actor was a woman?
All right, I'd have to say Tom Cruise.
She said Tom Cruise. Hey, Mark, we'll just call you Top Gun from now on, okay? Well, Wendell, what do you think about this?
I think it's kind of weird, but, you know.
Hey, I didn't write this question, man. I
Yeah.
just asked them.
I know,
They pay
you're
me
not
big
that-
bucks to
you're not that
ask
way.
these questions.
Yeah.
How much you getting paid today, Wendell? 2 kisses so far.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get 2 more.
Yeah.
You know, I would say John Von Clandam. Let me see. John.
Hey, Wendell, watch your damn language on my show.
Yeah, well, I can't help it, you know. What do I do?
John
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, okay. She said it would be Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yeah.
Not too bad. I'm kind of getting red here.
Yeah.
My glasses
Get
are
out to
steaming up.
Viagra, folks.
No, we don't need that.
Michael.
Let's see. Wesley Snipes.
All right, she predicted you to say it would be Wesley Snipes. Yes. What do you think, Lou?
Doesn't matter what I'm going to say. I'm going to get it wrong. So let's say Denzel Washington.
All right. She predicted you would say Steven Seagal. Before we get to our 25-point bonus question, let's see where our winning couple will be going on their second honeymoon. Kramer!
You're going.
It's been a lot of fun. Here's our 25-point bonus question. Gentlemen, who was president when you were born? Let's go to couple number 3. Lou and Denise, you have 20. 25 gives you 45. Get it right, you're in first place. Miss it, you go home in last place. Lou, who was president when you were born?
When I was born, it was Eisenhower.
Eisenhower. She predicted you would say when you were born, it was George Washington. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't think of it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hey, be sure to... You're going to have to show this tape to your kids and to your grandkids.
No.
Couple number 1,
sorry.
Wendell and Carolyn with 30. 25 gives you 55. Wendell, just zoom into first place if you get it right.
Yeah, right. I would have to say, I don't know if she'll agree with this, but Truman.
Truman. All right. No. She said...
You weren't born during the war. What's the matter with you?
Yeah. Eisenhower. Hey, beats George Washington all to hell and back. I'll tell you that. Couple number 2, Michael and Sherelle. You have 30. 25 to give you 55. Michael, if you get it right, you're going to be in first place. What's your answer, please?
Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. All right. She said Nixon. Nixon.
Damn, I was about to say that.
Nixon. Yeah. All right. Couple number 4, Mark and Jackie with 40. 25 to give you 55. Mark, what is your... Excuse me, 25 to give you 65. I lied to you. Just cheated you out 10 points. Mark, Mark, what's your answer?
Nixon.
You know what, Mark? You're going to Barbados. Congratulations! Well, thanks to Mark and Jackie and to all of our couples. Most of all, thanks to you. I'm Bob Eubanks. Hey, we will see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
From the heart of Hollywood, the bright lights of the studio began to shimmer as the iconic music filled the air, signaling the start of another exciting episode of the Newlywed Game. The atmosphere was electric, filled with the nervous energy and joyful anticipation of 4 couples who had recently embarked on the greatest adventure of their lives. The announcer introduced the participants with a flourish. Couple number 1 had exchanged their rings a month and a half ago, the radiant Evie and her husband James Sampson. Next were Marie and Danny Valdez, couple number 2, who had recited their sacred vows 4.5 months ago. They were followed by Kim and Robert Garcia, couple number 3, who had joined their lives together 15 months prior. Finally, couple number 4, Jessica and Doug Rockfam, had made their union official just 6 months ago. As the applause reached a crescendo, the legendary star of the show, Bob Eubanks, stepped onto the stage with a wide smile. He thanked the audience warmly and welcomed everyone to the program. Turning to the couples, he asked if they were ready to play, receiving a spirited and unanimous yes in response. Bob explained that they would begin by asking the husbands a series of questions while the wives were escorted to a soundproof room. While the ladies departed, Bob reminded the gentlemen that he would be asking 5-point questions. The goal was for the husbands to predict exactly how their wives would answer the same questions later. If the answers matched, the couple would earn 5 points. The pair with the highest total at the end of the show would win a fabulous second honeymoon. The first question was a playful one. Bob asked the husbands to predict how many whoopee sessions their wives would say they had enjoyed before meeting her mother. The choices were under 5, over 10, over 20, or too many to remember. Doug was the first to answer. He confidently stated that before he met her mother, it was definitely over 10. When Bob jokingly asked if her mother knew that, Doug admitted she did not. Robert was more conservative, predicting his wife would say under 5, expressing a hopeful sentiment. Danny, with a bit of a mischievous grin, chose over 10, prompting Bob to call him a rascal. James, however, took the lead in boldness, claiming the number was way too many to remember. Moving to the second question, Bob asked what one thing the husband kept putting where he wanted it, but the wife kept moving it to her preferred spot. Robert struggled to find an answer at first but eventually settled on the toothbrushes in the bathroom. Danny identified the remote controls as the source of their domestic tug-of-war. James pointed to the house keys, while Doug mentioned that the mail was always being moved to a different place. For the third question of the first round, the husbands had to complete a sentence about their wives. The sentence began with the phrase that his wife makes the strangest face whenever she does a specific action. Danny suggested his wife made a strange face whenever she passed gas, though he noted it did not happen often. James thought his wife made a curious expression whenever she did not quite understand something. Doug believed his wife's strangest face appeared when she was a little upset or gave him a certain look. Robert concluded that his wife's face was most peculiar when she was trying to put her foot down and win an argument. With the husbands' predictions recorded, the show took a brief break. When they returned, the wives were brought back to the stage to see if their answers would match their husbands' guesses. Bob greeted the ladies and dove straight into the first question regarding the number of intimate sessions before meeting the mother-in-law. Evie answered immediately that it was too many to remember, explaining that they had lived together and her mother was well aware of the situation. This was a perfect match for James, earning them 5 points. Marie also answered too many to remember. However, her husband Danny had predicted over 10. While Marie insisted her mother knew, Danny recalled their early meetings differently. Kim then surprised the audience by saying too many to remember, which stood in stark contrast to Robert's prediction of under 5. Robert admitted he remembered things starting out much slower. Jessica rounded out the group by saying over 20, which was close but not an exact match for Doug's prediction of over 10. The second question for the ladies concerned the items that were constantly being moved. Marie identified the cordless phone, while Danny had guessed the remote controls. Kim said it was his shoes, but Robert had guessed the toothbrush. Jessica mentioned all of his work papers and junk, which Bob noted was close to Doug's guess of the mail. Evie thought it might be the key to the mailbox, but James had specifically predicted the house keys. When asked about the strangest faces they made, Kim suggested she made a face while watching television, while Robert thought it was during arguments. Jessica agreed that she made faces when she was angry, matching Doug's prediction that she made them when she was upset. Evie admitted she forgot the question momentarily before suggesting she made faces when mad, though James had guessed it was when she was confused. Marie thought she made funny faces while playing with their daughter, which was quite different from Danny's humorous guess about passing gas. As the game progressed, the husbands were moved off stage, and it was the wives' turn to predict their husbands' responses. These questions were now worth 10 points each. Bob asked the wives about their husbands' attitudes toward their past relationships. Did the husbands want to know every detail, already know every detail, or prefer not to talk about it at all? Kim believed Robert did not want to talk about it because he already knew just enough to be satisfied. Marie was certain Danny already knew everything since they were friends before marrying. Evie felt James definitely did not want to know or talk about her past relationships in Denmark. Jessica was confident Doug knew every detail because they talked about everything. The next question was about the last thing the wife caught the husband doing in front of the mirror that he did not expect to be seen. Marie playfully accused Danny of picking his nose while checking his nose hairs. Evie jokingly feared James would kill her for saying the same thing. Jessica thought Doug was likely just primping and running his hands through his hair. Kim agreed that Robert was often caught checking himself out from every angle. The final question of this round involved a hypothetical bet where the husband became a love slave for 24 hours. The wives had to guess how long he would actually last. Evie initially said 3 hours but then generously upgraded her answer to 10 or 15 hours. Jessica guessed 6 hours, suggesting he would soon want his own turn. Kim estimated 8 hours to help boost his ego. Marie also chose 8 hours, expressing confidence in her husband's stamina. For a 25-point bonus, the wives were asked to name their husband's favorite juice flavor. Jessica chose something else. Kim chose apple, while both Marie and Evie chose orange juice. In the final segment, the husbands returned to reveal their answers. On the topic of past relationships, Danny and Doug both confirmed they knew every detail, matching their wives' predictions. Robert and James both stated they did not want to talk about it, which also resulted in successful matches. Regarding the mirror incidents, Robert admitted to checking himself out, matching Kim's answer of primping. Doug confirmed he checked his hair and physique, which matched Jessica's prediction. However, James provided a unique answer, claiming he was caught playing with their guinea pig named Chubby. James explained that he and Chubby liked to hang out and that he even gave the pet baths. This did not match Evie's guess about him picking his nose. Danny mentioned dancing with his daughter, which also failed to match Marie's answer about nose hairs. On the love slave question, Doug guessed 12 hours, but Jessica had said 6. James guessed 3 hours, while Evie had predicted 10. Danny felt he could go the full 20 apartments but guessed he would say 5, while Marie had guessed 8. Robert honestly guessed 2 hours, while Kim had predicted 8 to spare his feelings. Finally, it was time for the bonus question about juice. Danny chose orange, matching Marie for 35 points. James chose orange, matching Evie for 40 points. Robert chose apple, matching Kim for 45 points. The tension was high as Doug took his turn. He needed a match to win. He chose something else, which was exactly what Jessica had predicted. With 50 points, Jessica and Doug Rockfam were declared the grand prize winners. They were headed for a romantic 6-night second honeymoon in Barbados at the Almond Beach Resorts, a place of gourmet dining and beautiful beaches. Bob Eubanks congratulated all the couples for their spirit and honesty. As the credits began to roll and the audience cheered, the couples embraced, celebrating not just the game, but the love and laughter that defined their new lives together. It was a day of joy in Hollywood, proving that while they might not always agree on where the keys or the remote controls belong, their bonds were strong and their futures bright. From Hollywood, it is the Newlywed Game. And here are today is Newlyweds. Couple number 1 exchanged rings a month and a half ago, Evie and James Sampson. Couple number 2 recited their vows 4.5 months ago, Marie and Danny Valdez. Couple number 3 joined together 15 months ago, Kim and Robert Garcia. And couple number 4 made it official 6 months ago, Jessica and Doug Rockfam. And now, here is the star of the Newlywed Game, Bob Eubanks. Bob steps onto the stage amid roaring applause and says thank you very much, thank you. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Newlywed Game. Hey, couples, you ready to play? The couples shout yeah in excitement. Bob continues by saying good, we have got 4 lively couples. We are going to start the show off by asking the husbands some questions. So, ladies, if you would, off to the soundproof room, okay? And while the ladies are leaving, Bob turns to the men and says I would like to remind our husbands, I will be asking you some 5-point questions. Remember, now, you will be answering these questions as you predict your wife will answer the same question when she returns. And if her answer matches your prediction, you then get 5 points. The couple with the most points at the end of the show wins a fabulous second honeymoon. So, gentlemen, here is your first question. Tell me, how many whoopee sessions will your wife say you two had before you met her mother? Under 5, over 10, over 20, or too many to remember? Bob looks at Doug and says Doug, before you met her mother. Doug thinks for a moment and replies before I met her mother, I would have to say over 10. Bob asks if her mother knows that, and Doug says no. Bob moves to the next husband and asks Robert. Robert says I would have to say under 5 before you met her mother, I hope. Bob then asks Danny what he thinks. Danny says I would say over 10. Bob jokes and calls him a rascal, and Danny proudly says well, I try to be. Bob turns to the last husband and says James. James answers I would say way too many to remember. Bob laughs and says oh, too many to remember, James. Next question, gentlemen. What will your wife say is the one thing you keep putting where you want it, but she keeps moving it where she wants it? The one thing, Robert, you keep putting where you want it, but she keeps moving it where she wants it. Robert looks confused and says oh, I really do not even have an answer. Bob encourages him to come up with an answer. Robert eventually says, I do not know, I guess the toothbrush is in the bathroom. Bob repeats toothbrush in the bathroom and asks Danny. Danny says, I would say the remote controls. Bob then asks James, who says I would say the house keys. Bob clarifies if it is house and car keys, and James says no, just house keys. Finally, Bob asks Doug, who answers mail, because mail is always in a different place. Bob says the mail, all right. Next question, gentlemen. How will your wife say you would complete this sentence? This is you talking. My wife makes the strangest face whenever she does what? Danny says I would say passes gas. Bob tells him he does not need to say any more and understands. James says whenever she does not quite understand something. Doug says whenever she gets a little upset with me or gives me that look. Robert says whenever she is trying to put her foot down and trying to win an argument. Bob thanks the gentleman and announces that they will be right back to reunite these newlyweds and see how well their husbands have predicted right after these messages. The show takes a brief break featuring announcements for other programs and events. Groundbreakers, risk takers, and dream makers are mentioned. A question is asked if your basic profession is that of an actress, and the answer is yes. There is an invitation to join a 4-hour event to meet the next team of challengers. The game show program is advertised as honoring the greats who grace the game show stage, including Scarlett Mitchell, Cap Galloway, Odetta Ruby Dee, and Glenn Swan. These African-American greats will be honored on February 26 on Buzzer. The music plays and Bob welcomes everyone back. Gentlemen, we have recorded your predictions on cards. You now have them flat on your laps. Each time that your prediction matches your wife's answer, you get 5 points. One couple with the most points at the end of the show wins a great second honeymoon. So you have really got something nice to play for. And here we go with your first question. Ladies, how many whoopee sessions did the two of you have before your husband met your mother? Too many to remember, over 20, over 10, or under 5. This is before he met your mom, Evie. Evie answers too many to remember. Bob asks if her mom knows that, and Evie says oh, yeah. James predicted she would say too many to remember, so they get points. Marie answers definitely too many to remember. Bob tells her that her husband said for sure over 10. Marie says well, I met your mom that one time, but we did not really, but mom knows now. Kim says I would say too many to remember. Her husband Robert said under 5. Kim explains that they did not just jump at it and took their time, but Robert admits he remembers starting out really slow. Bob points out that the wife said too many. Jessica is asked the same question and she says I would have to say over 20. Doug said over 10. Jessica explains that he met her mom real early in the relationship at the Christmas party. Next question, ladies. What is the one thing your husband keeps putting where he wants it, but you keep moving it where you want it? Marie says the cordless phone. Danny predicted she would say the remote controls. Kim says his shoes. Robert predicted she would say the toothbrush. Jessica says all of his junk, his work stuff and all of his papers. Doug said he keeps putting the mail where he wants it, which Bob notes is close. Evie says the key to the mailbox because it always disappears. James predicted she would say the house key. Next question, ladies. How did your husband complete this sentence? This is him talking. My wife makes the strangest face whenever she does what? Kim says watch television. Robert said she makes a strange face whenever she tries to win an argument. Jessica says definitely when I get angry. Doug said she makes the strangest face whenever she gets upset with him, which the judge accepts. Evie is asked the question and says I always make funny faces, then specifies whenever I get mad at him. James said she makes the strangest face whenever she does not understand something. Marie says when we are playing with our daughter. Danny said she makes the strangest face whenever she passes gas. Bob announces they will be right back after these messages to see how well the wives can predict what their husbands will say. Welcome back, everybody. Ladies, now your husbands are secluded offstage, and it is your turn to predict what they will say. And remember, these questions will now be worth 10 points. Ladies, when it comes to your past relationships, Will your husband say that he wants to know every detail, already knows every detail, or does not want to talk about it in detail? Kim says I would say he does not want to talk about it. Marie says he already knows every detail because they were friends before. Evie says definitely not, he does not want to know anything and never wants to talk about it. Jessica says he already knows every detail because they talk about everything. Next question, ladies. What will your husband say is the last thing you caught him doing in front of the mirror that he never expected to get caught doing? Marie says picking his nose. Evie also says picking his nose. Jessica says he probably just put his hands through his hair because he is always looking at himself in the mirror. Kim says he was probably primping and checking himself out from every angle. Next question, ladies. How will your husband say you would complete this sentence? This is you talking. If my husband lost a bet and agreed to be my love slave for 24 hours, the reality is that he would probably only last about how long? Evie says 10 hours. Jessica says 6 hours. Kim says about 8 hours. Marie says maybe about 8 hours. Ladies, 25-point bonus question. Will your husband say his favorite juice flavor is apple, orange, cranberry, grapefruit, or something else? Jessica says something else. Kim says apple. Marie says orange juice. Evie says orange juice. Bob thanks the ladies and says they will be back with the husbands to compare answers right after these messages. Welcome back, everybody. Gentlemen, now let us see how well your wives have predicted what you will say. Remember, these questions are now worth 10 points. Gentlemen, when it comes to your wife is past relationships, do you already know every detail, want to know every detail, or you do not want to talk about it in detail at all? Danny says definitely know every detail. His wife Marie said the kung. Robert says I do not want to talk about it. His wife Kim said that too. Doug says I know every detail, which matches Jessica's answer. James says I do not want to talk about it, which matches Evie's answer. Next question, gentlemen. Tell me, what is the last thing your wife caught you doing in front of a mirror that you never expected to get caught doing? Robert says checking myself out. Kim said primping, so they match. Doug says checking myself out and making sure his hair is right. Jessica said running his hands through his hair, which the judge accepts. James says playing with our guinea pig named Chubby. However, Evie said she caught him picking his nose. Danny says dancing with his baby daughter, but Marie said he was fussing with his nose hairs. Next question, gentlemen. How did your wife complete this sentence? This is her talking. If my husband lost a bet and agreed to be my love slave for 24 hours, the reality is that he would probably only last about how long? Doug says 12 hours, but Jessica said 6 hours. James says 3 hours, but Evie said 10 hours. Danny says 5 hours, but Marie said 8 hours. Robert says 2 hours, but Kim said 8 hours to feed his ego. Before the final question, the announcer John Kramer describes the prize. The winning couple will go on a fabulous trip to Barbados for a 6-night all-inclusive vacation at Almond Beach Resorts, including gourmet dining and entertainment. Bob asks the final 25-point bonus question. Gentlemen, is your favorite juice flavor orange, grapefruit, cranberry, apple, or something else? Danny and Marie have 10 points. Danny says orange. Marie said orange, so they get 35 points. James and Evie have 15 points. James says orange. Evie said orange, so they get 40 points. Robert and Kim have 20 points. Robert says apple. Kim said apple, so they get 45 points. Doug and Jessica have 25 points. Doug says something else. Jessica said something else. Doug and Jessica Rockman are the grand prize winners. Bob thanks all the couples and the audience, saying he will see everyone next time on the Newlywed Game. From the heart of Hollywood, the bright lights of the television studio shined down on a stage filled with anticipation and the sweet scent of fresh romance. It was time for the Newlywed Game, the show that put young love to the ultimate test of memory and intuition. The audience erupted into applause as the announcer introduced the 4 couples who were ready to share their stories. Couple number 1 had exchanged their rings only a month and a half ago, the radiant Evie and her husband James Sampson. Standing beside them was couple number 2, Marie and Danny Valdez, who had recited their sacred vows 4.5 months prior. Couple number 3 consisted of Kim and Robert Garcia, who had been joined together in matrimony for 15 months. Finally, couple number 4, Jessica and Doug Rockfam, had made their union official just 6 months ago. The excitement reached its peak as the star of the Newlywed Game, Bob Eubanks, stepped onto the stage with a wide, welcoming smile. He thanked the cheering crowd and greeted the 4 lively couples with genuine warmth. Bob asked if they were ready to play, and a chorus of enthusiastic affirmations followed. He explained the rules clearly. To start the show, the husbands would remain on stage while the wives were escorted to a soundproof room. Bob reminded the gentlemen that he would be asking 5-point questions. The goal was for the husbands to predict exactly how their wives would answer the same questions later. If the answers matched, the couple would earn 5 points. The stakes were high, as the couple with the most points at the end of the show would win a fabulous second honeymoon. With the ladies safely away, Bob turned to the husbands for the first question. He asked how many whoopee sessions their wives would say they had before meeting her mother. The choices were under 5, over 10, over 20, or too many to remember. Doug was the first to answer. He confidently stated that it was over 10, though he admitted with a grin that her mother certainly did not know that. Robert took a more cautious approach, guessing under 5, expressing a hopeful sentiment that his wife would agree. Danny, with a bit of a rascal spirit, chose over 10. When it was James's turn, he didn't hesitate to say it was way too many to remember, drawing a playful reaction from the host. The second question shifted to the quirks of domestic life. Bob asked what one thing the husband kept putting where he wanted it, but the wife kept moving it to her preferred spot. Robert struggled for a moment before suggesting the toothbrushes in the bathroom. Danny identified the remote controls as the source of their tug-of-war. James pointed to the house keys, specifically noting the constant movement of car and house keys. Doug finished the round by naming the mail as the item that was always ending up in a different place. For the third question of the opening round, the husbands had to complete a sentence about their wives' expressions. The sentence was, "My wife makes the strangest face whenever she does what?" Danny answered first, suggesting his wife made a face whenever she passed gas, though he quickly added it did not happen often. James believed his wife made a strange face whenever she did not quite understand something. Doug thought his wife's face changed whenever she got a little upset or gave him a specific look. Robert concluded by saying his wife made her strangest face when she was trying to put her foot down to win an argument. Bob thanked the gentleman and paused for a brief commercial break, promising to reunite the couples shortly to see how well the wives' answers matched these predictions. During the break, the screen featured a tribute to the greats of game show history, honoring legends like Scarlett Mitchell and Cap Galloway. When the show returned, the husbands held their prediction cards on their laps. It was time for the wives to face the same questions. Bob greeted the ladies and asked the first question regarding the number of whoopee sessions before meeting the mother-in-law. Evie answered immediately that it was too many to remember, explaining that they had lived together and her mother was well aware. This was a perfect match for James, earning them their first 5 points. Marie also chose too many to remember, but since Danny had predicted over 10, they did not get a match. Kim surprised the group by saying too many to remember, while Robert had predicted under 5. Robert explained he remembered starting out slow, but Kim's answer stood firm. Jessica answered over 20, which was close but did not match Doug's prediction of over 10. The ladies then addressed the question of the misplaced household items. Marie identified the cordless phone, which did not match Danny's guess of the remote control. Kim said it was her husband's shoes, a far cry from Robert's guess of the toothbrush. Jessica mentioned her husband's junk and papers, which Bob deemed close enough to Doug's answer of the mail. Evie thought it was the key to the mailbox, but since James had specified the house key, they missed the points by a narrow margin. The final question of the round focused on those strange faces. Kim said she made a face while watching television, which did not match Robert's answer about winning arguments. Jessica agreed that she made a face when she was angry, which Bob accepted as a match for Doug's answer of being upset. Evie, momentarily forgetting the question, eventually said she made faces when she was mad, but James had predicted it happened when she was confused. Marie thought she made faces while playing with their daughter, which was a significant departure from Danny's answer about passing gas. As the game progressed into the second half, the points increased to 10 for each match. This time, the husbands were sent away, and the wives were asked to predict their husbands' responses. The first question concerned the husbands' interest in their wives' past relationships. Kim believed Robert did not want to talk about it at all, noting he had heard just enough to be satisfied. Marie felt Danny already knew every detail because they had been friends first. Evie was certain James wanted to know nothing, mentioning her past in Denmark was a closed book to him. Jessica also believed Doug knew every detail through their constant communication. Next, Bob asked about the last thing the wives caught their husbands doing in front of the mirror. Marie playfully suggested Danny was picking his nose or fussing with nose hairs. Evie, fearing his reaction, also guessed nose picking. Jessica and Kim both described their husbands as being a bit vain, suggesting they were primping or running their hands through their hair to check their reflection from every angle. The final 10-point question was a hypothetical scenario. If the husband lost a bet and became a love slave for 24 hours, how long would he actually last? Evie guessed 10 hours. Jessica estimated 6 hours, thinking he would eventually want his own turn. Kim and Marie both settled on 8 hours, with Kim noting she wanted to be kind to her husband's ego. Before the husbands returned, Bob offered a 25-point bonus question regarding the husband's favorite juice flavor. Jessica guessed something else. Kim guessed apple. Marie and Evie both chose orange juice. The husbands returned to the stage, and the tension was palpable. On the topic of past relationships, Danny confirmed he knew every detail, matching Marie's prediction. Robert admitted he did not want to talk about it, resulting in another match. Doug and James also matched their wives' predictions by stating they either knew everything or wanted to hear nothing at all. When asked about the mirror, Robert admitted to checking himself out, which matched Kim's description of primping. Doug confirmed he checked his hair and physique, matching Jessica's answer. James, however, gave a surprising answer, saying he stood in front of the mirror to play with his pet guinea pig named Chubby. This did not match Evie's guess of nose picking. Danny confirmed he often danced with their daughter in front of the mirror, but also admitted to messing with his nose hairs, which Bob accepted as a match for Marie's answer. The love slave question brought much laughter. Doug guessed he would last 12 hours, which was double Jessica's guess of 6. James guessed a modest 3 hours, while Evie had given him credit for 10. Danny confidently thought he could go the full 24 hours but guessed his wife would say 5. Marie's guess of 8 was much closer. Robert, the most honest of the group, guessed 2 hours. Kim's guess of 8 hours was much higher, leading Bob to joke about feeding Robert's ego. As the show neared its conclusion, the announcer John Kramer described the grand prize, a 6-night all-inclusive vacation to the beautiful island of Barbados at the Almond Beach Resorts. It all came down to the 25-point bonus question about favorite juice flavors. Danny and Marie, currently with 10 points, needed a match to take the lead. Danny chose orange, which matched Marie exactly, putting them at 35 points. James and Evie, with 15 points, also chose orange, moving into first place with 40 points. Robert and Kim, with 20 points, chose apple, successfully matching and taking the lead with 45 points. Finally, it was Doug and Jessica's turn. They had 25 points and needed a match to win the trip to Barbados. Bob asked Doug for his favorite juice flavor from the list of orange, grapefruit, cranberry, apple, or something else. Doug chose something else. It was a perfect match for Jessica's prediction. With 50 points, Doug and Jessica Rockfam were declared the grand prize winners of the Newlywed Game. The studio filled with cheers as the couples celebrated their journey of discovery and love. Bob Eubanks bid the audience a fond farewell, closing another chapter of laughter and romance in Hollywood. From the heart of the legendary city of Hollywood, where dreams are woven into reality under the shimmering glow of countless lights, a familiar melody began to rise, signaling the start of a beloved tradition. It was time for the Newlywed Game, a stage where love was celebrated with laughter and where the bonds of matrimony were put to the ultimate test of shared memories and playful secrets. The atmosphere inside the studio was electric, filled with the eager anticipation of an audience ready to witness the stories of 4 unique couples who had recently embarked on the grand journey of marriage. The voice of the announcer, John Kramer, resonated through the hall with a warmth that made everyone feel at home. He introduced the contestants who would be the stars of the day. First, there were Evie and James Sampson, a couple who had exchanged their rings and promises only 1 month and a half ago, still basking in the fresh glow of their union. Following them were Marie and Danny Valdez, who had recited their sacred vows 4 months and a half ago. The third pair to take the stage was Kim and Robert Garcia, who had been joined together for 15 months, bringing a slightly more seasoned perspective to the group. Finally, Jessica and Doug Rockfam made their appearance, having made their commitment official exactly 6 months ago. As the applause swelled, the undisputed star of the Newlywed Game, Bob Eubanks, stepped into the spotlight. He greeted the crowd with his signature charm and a genuine smile that had welcomed generations of viewers. He thanked the audience profusely, his energy infectious as he turned his attention to the 4 lively couples seated before him. He asked if they were ready to play, and their enthusiastic confirmation set the tone for the afternoon. Bob explained the rules with practiced ease. The journey would begin by asking the husbands a series of questions while the wives were escorted to a soundproof room where they could not hear the proceedings. Each question was worth 5 points. The goal was for the husbands to predict exactly how their wives would answer the same questions later. If the answers matched, the couple would earn their points, moving 1 step closer to the grand prize of a fabulous second honeymoon. With the ladies gone, Bob turned to the 4 men, his eyes twinkling with mischief. He introduced the first question, a classic inquiry into the early days of their romance. He asked the husbands to estimate how many whoopee sessions their wives would say they had shared before the moment came to meet the mother of the bride. The choices were under 5, over 10, over 20, or simply too many to remember. Doug was the first to answer. With a confident look, he suggested that the number was certainly over 10. When Bob jokingly asked if his mother-in-law was aware of this, Doug admitted with a laugh that she definitely was not. Robert took a more cautious approach, stating that he believed his wife would say the number was under 5, expressing a hopeful sentiment that their early days were a bit more reserved. Danny, on the other hand, felt that over 10 was a more accurate reflection of their passionate start, earning himself a playful remark from Bob about his rascal nature. James concluded the round by declaring that the number was way too many to remember, a statement that suggested a very busy and happy beginning to their relationship. The second question shifted the focus to the daily dynamics of their households. Bob asked what one thing the husband kept putting where he wanted it, only for the wife to move it to her preferred spot. Robert struggled to find an answer at first but eventually decided on the toothbrushes in the bathroom. Danny pointed to the remote controls, a common source of domestic tug-of-war. James identified the house keys as the primary item of contention, noting how they always seemed to migrate. Doug mentioned the mail, explaining that it was always found in a different place than where he had left it. For the third question of the first round, Bob asked the men to complete a sentence. Each husband had to describe the strangest face his wife made during a specific activity. Danny claimed his wife made a peculiar face whenever she passed gas, though he quickly clarified that it did not happen often. James suggested that his wife looked most unusual when she did not quite understand something. Doug believed his wife made a strange face whenever she became a little upset with him or gave him a certain look. Robert concluded by saying his wife's most unique expression appeared when she was trying to put her foot down to win an argument. With the first round of predictions complete, the show took a brief pause for messages, honoring the greats of the game show world and celebrating history. When the cameras returned, the husbands held their prediction cards on their laps, and the wives were invited back to the stage to see if their memories aligned with their partner's guesses. The first question for the ladies brought a mix of blushes and laughter. When asked about the number of whoopee sessions before meeting their mothers, Evie did not hesitate to say it was too many to remember, explaining that they had lived together. This was a perfect match for James, earning them their first 5 points. Marie also chose too many to remember, but her husband Danny had predicted over 10. Though they disagreed on the exact count, the sentiment of a strong connection was clear. Kim surprised her husband Robert by also saying too many to remember, despite his modest prediction of under 5. Jessica rounded out the group by saying the number was over 20, which was slightly higher than Doug's guess of over 10, though they both agreed the number was significant. Moving to the items moved around the house, Marie identified the cordless phone as her target, while Danny had guessed the remote controls. Kim mentioned her husband's shoes, which contradicted Robert's guess of toothbrushes. Jessica spoke about the papers and work items that Doug left around, which was a close match to his answer of mail. Evie identified the key to the mailbox as the item that always disappeared, while James had specified the house keys. When the conversation turned to the strange faces they made, Kim admitted she might look odd while watching television, which was far from Robert's guess about winning arguments. Jessica agreed that she made faces when she was angry, which Bob and the judges accepted as a match for Doug's prediction of her being upset. Evie was momentarily confused by the question but eventually settled on making faces when she was mad, while James had predicted she would look strange when she was confused. Finally, Marie suggested she made funny faces while playing with her daughter, which was a stark contrast to Danny's humorous guess about her passing gas. The game then moved into the second half, where the stakes were raised to 10 points per match. This time, the husbands were sent away, and the wives were asked to predict their partners' responses. The questions became a bit more personal and revealing. Bob asked the wives about their husbands' attitudes toward their past relationships. Kim believed Robert did not want to talk about the details at all, suggesting he had heard enough to be satisfied. Marie felt that since she and Danny had been friends first, he already knew every detail. Evie was certain that James wanted to know nothing of her past, especially her life back in Denmark. Jessica shared that she and Doug were open books and that he already knew everything there was to know. Next, the wives were asked about the last thing they caught their husbands doing in front of the mirror. Marie jokingly suggested Danny might be picking his nose or tending to his nose hairs. Evie, laughing, agreed that James might be caught doing the same. Jessica and Kim both described their husbands as being a bit vain, often caught primping or running their hands through their hair to ensure they looked their best from every angle. The final 10-point question asked how long the husbands would last as love slaves if they lost a bet. The answers ranged from 3 hours to 15 hours. Evie eventually settled on 10 hours for James, while Jessica thought Doug would last about 6 hours. Kim estimated 8 hours for Robert, and Marie gave Danny credit for 8 hours as well. Before the final results, the announcer revealed the grand prize, a 6-night all-inclusive vacation to the beautiful island of Barbados, staying at the Almond Beach resorts. The excitement in the room reached a fever pitch as the bonus 25-point question was introduced. The couples had to match their favorite juice flavors: orange, grapefruit, cranberry, apple, or something else. Danny and Marie both chose orange juice, bringing their score to 35. James and Evie also matched on orange juice, reaching 40 points. Robert and Kim successfully matched on apple juice, giving them 45 points. Finally, Doug and Jessica had to match to win it all. Doug correctly guessed that Jessica would say something else, and with that match, they reached 50 points and became the grand prize winners. The show concluded with cheers and congratulations as Doug and Jessica prepared for their journey to Barbados. Bob Eubanks bid the audience a warm farewell, celebrating another successful day of love, laughter, and the enduring spirit of the Newlywed Game. The golden sun of Southern California began its slow descent over the bustling streets of Hollywood, casting long, amber shadows against the palm trees that lined the boulevards. Inside the brightly lit sanctuary of the television studio, the air was thick with a mixture of electric excitement and the faint scent of hairspray and nervous anticipation. This was the place where dreams were broadcast to millions, and tonight, the stage was set for a celebration of love, laughter, and the occasional awkward revelation. The legendary neon sign flickered to life, bathing the set in a warm, inviting glow that announced to the world that it was once again time for the Newlywed Game. The audience, a sea of smiling faces dressed in their finest attire, began a rhythmic clapping that echoed against the high rafters of the studio. From the wings of the stage, the announcer, John Kramer, stepped toward his microphone with the practiced grace of a seasoned professional. His voice, deep and resonant like a well-tuned cello, cut through the excitement to introduce the stars of the evening. He spoke of Hollywood, the land of glamour, and then, with a flourish of his hand, he introduced the four couples who had come to share their young journeys of matrimony with the world. The introduction of the lovers. First to be introduced were Evie and James Sampson. They stood close together, their hands intertwined so tightly that it seemed as though they were afraid the sheer joy of the moment might carry them away. They had exchanged their golden rings and whispered their eternal promises just 1.5 months ago. Every look they shared was filled with the fresh, unfiltered magic of a honeymoon phase that had not yet met the mundane realities of Tuesday morning chores. They represented the very dawn of a shared life. Next came Marie and Danny Valdez. This vibrant couple had recited their sacred vows 4.5 months ago. There was a comfortable rhythm to their movements, a sense of growing partnership that suggested they had already begun the work of building a foundation. Danny had a mischievous spark in his eyes, while Marie possessed a radiant smile that seemed to light up the entire row of contestants. The third couple to grace the stage was Kim and Robert Garcia. They were the veterans among the newcomers, having joined their lives together 15 months ago. There was a quiet strength in their presence, a maturity born of over a year of shared morning coffees and late-night conversations. They looked at the younger couples with a sense of knowing affection, remembering well the flutter of those first few weeks of marriage. Finally, the stage welcomed Jessica and Doug Rockfam. They had made their union official 6 months ago, hitting that half-year milestone with a sense of pride and adventure. Doug possessed a sturdy, confident aura, while Jessica exuded a charm that was both elegant and approachable. Together, they completed the quartet of lovers ready to test the depths of their mutual understanding. The applause reached a deafening crescendo as the star of the show, the incomparable Bob Eubanks, stepped into the spotlight. With a smile that had comforted and entertained audiences for years, he thanked the crowd with genuine warmth. He looked toward the couples, his eyes twinkling with the promise of the fun to come. He asked them if they were ready to play, and the collective shout of agreement from the four couples was enough to rattle the studio lights. The husbands take the lead. Bob Eubanks, ever the master of ceremonies, directed the flow of the evening with a gentle hand. He explained that the show would begin by testing the predictive powers of the husbands. With a polite gesture, he requested that the ladies depart for the soundproof room, a place where they could wait in silence while their husbands navigated the first round of questions. As the women filed off the stage, their laughter trailing behind them like a pleasant melody, Bob turned his attention back to the four men sitting on the brightly colored stools. He reminded them of the stakes. Each correct prediction would earn the couple 5 points. At the end of the journey, the couple with the highest tally would be whisked away on a fabulous second honeymoon, a prize that represented more than just a vacation, but a chance to celebrate their victory in paradise. The first question was one that leaned into the playful, slightly scandalous humor for which the show was famous. Bob leaned forward and asked the husbands to predict how many whoopee sessions their wives would say they had enjoyed before the fateful day they finally met her mother. He offered them categories to choose from: under 5, over 10, over 20, or too many to remember. Doug Rockfam was the first to speak. He rubbed his chin thoughtfully, a small smile playing on his lips as he considered his answer. He declared that before he had met Jessica's mother, they had enjoyed over 10 such sessions. Bob asked with a wink if her mother was aware of this particular statistic, to which Doug quickly responded with a firm no, sparking a wave of laughter from the audience. Robert Garcia, taking a more conservative approach, suggested that for him and Kim, the number was likely under 5. He added a quiet hope to his answer, perhaps reflecting a desire for a more traditional beginning in the eyes of his mother-in-law. Danny Valdez was next, and he did not hesitate. With the confidence of a man who enjoyed the romantic aspects of his marriage, he chose the category of over 10. Bob called him a rascal, a title Danny accepted with a proud nod, stating that he certainly tried to be. James Sampson, the newest of the newlyweds, brought the house down with his response. He stated quite simply that the sessions were way too many to remember. The audience roared with delight at his honesty, and Bob could only shake his head in mock disbelief at the stamina of the youngest couple. The items of contention. Moving seamlessly to the next topic, Bob asked about the small, daily frictions that make a marriage real. He wanted to know about the one thing the husband keeps putting where he wants it, but the wife insisted on moving to her own preferred location. Robert Garcia struggled for a moment, his mind searching through the rooms of their home for a suitable example. Finally, he settled on the toothbrushes in the bathroom, imagining a quiet struggle over the placement of the bristles. Danny Valdez had a more modern grievance. He pointed toward the remote controls, those elusive plastic wands that always seemed to migrate from the coffee table to some hidden crevice known only to Marie. James Sampson went with a classic source of household mystery, the house keys. He lamented how she kept moving them, though he clarified that it was specifically the house keys and not the car keys that caused the confusion. Doug Rockfam finished the round by mentioning the mail. In his household, the arrival of the post was followed by a silent dance where letters were moved from one surface to another until they were practically lost to time. The faces of emotion. The final question of the first segment involved a bit of mimicry and observation. Bob asked the men to complete a sentence about the strangest face their wives made during specific activities. Danny Valdez was the first to dive into the deep end of honesty. He claimed that Marie made the strangest face whenever she happened to pass gas. He quickly added that it did not happen often, hoping to save a bit of her dignity, but the comedic damage was already done. James Sampson took a more intellectual route, stating that Evie made an unusual face whenever she did not quite understand something. He described a look of puzzled concentration that he found endearing. Doug Rockfam suggested that Jessica's strangest expression appeared whenever she got a little upset or gave him a particular look of displeasure. It was the face of a woman who was about to put her foot down. Robert Garcia agreed with a similar sentiment, noting that Kim made a unique face whenever she was trying to win an argument or assert her will in a disagreement. With the first round of questions concluded, Bob thanked the gentlemen and announced a brief pause for the messages that kept the wheels of television turning. He promised the audience that they would soon reunite the couples to see just how well these husbands truly knew the women they had married. Interlude and the return of the wives. During the break, the screen filled with the stories of groundbreakers and dream makers. An advertisement played for a special event honoring the great African American legends of the game show stage, names like Scarlett Mitchell, Cap Galloway, Odetta Ruby Dee, and Glenn Swan. It was a reminder of the rich history of the medium, a moment of reflection before returning to the light-hearted competition at hand. When the show returned, the energy in the room had shifted. The wives were back, sitting beside their husbands, unaware of the specific predictions that had been made in their absence. Bob welcomed everyone back and explained the rules once more. Each match was worth 5 points. The tension was palpable as the first question was revisited. Bob asked the ladies how many whoopee sessions they had enjoyed before their husbands met their mothers. Evie Sampson did not hesitate. She chose the top category, too many to remember. She explained with a shrug that they had lived together, and yes, her mother was well aware of the situation. James beamed with pride as he revealed his matching card. They were off to a perfect start. Marie Valdez followed suit, also choosing too many to remember. However, Danny had predicted over 10. While technically over 10, in the strict world of the Newlywed Game, it was not an exact match. Danny tried to argue that he had met her mother early on, but the points remained out of reach. Kim Garcia surprised her husband by also claiming the number was too many to remember. Robert, who had predicted under 5, looked stunned. Kim explained that while they took their time with the relationship, they certainly did not neglect the romance. Bob teased Robert about leaving a lasting impression that he had apparently forgotten to count correctly. Jessica Rockfam went with over 20, which was a very specific and high number. Doug had predicted over 10. While Doug was technically in the right ballpark, the lack of an exact match meant no points for the Rockfams. Searching for the moved objects. The second round of matches focused on the household items. Marie Valdez guessed that the cordless phone was the item Danny kept moving. Danny had predicted the remote controls. Though they both involved household technology, it was another miss for the Valdez couple. Kim Garcia guessed his shoes, a classic complaint in any household. Robert, however, had predicted the toothbrushes. He looked disappointed as he realized their domestic lives were even more complicated than he thought. Jessica Rockfam mentioned his junk and his work papers, specifically all the papers he left lying around. Doug had predicted the mail. Bob, acting as a generous mediator, asked the judge for a ruling. Since mail consists of papers, it was deemed close enough for a match. The Rockfams were finally on the board. Evie Sampson guessed the key to the mailbox, noting how it always seemed to disappear. James had predicted the house keys. Though they were both keys, the distinction was enough to deny them the points. The faces revealed. When asked about the strangest face, Kim Garcia suggested she made it while watching television. Robert had predicted the face she made while trying to win an argument. No match. Jessica Rockfam confirmed that she definitely made a strange face when she got angry. Doug had predicted the face she made when she was upset with him. The judge ruled this as a match, much to the delight of the couple. Evie Sampson had a moment of forgetfulness, asking Bob to repeat the question. Once she understood, she admitted to making funny faces whenever she got mad at James. James, however, had predicted the face she made when she did not understand something. Ironically, her confusion about the question itself was a perfect example of his prediction, but because she answered anger, they did not get the points. Marie Valdez suggested she made faces while playing with their daughter. Danny, ever the truth-teller, reminded her of his prediction regarding passing gas. Marie's face of shock was perhaps the strangest one of all, but it did not earn them any points. The second phase, higher stakes. With the first half of the show behind them, it was time to reverse the roles. The husbands were sent away to the soundproof room, and the wives were asked to predict their husbands' responses. To heighten the drama, these questions were now worth 10 points each. Bob asked the ladies about their past relationships. Would their husbands say they want to know every detail, already know every detail, or do not want to talk about it at all? Kim Garcia believed Robert did not want to talk about it. She joked that she had given him a little taste of her past and he had decided that was quite enough information for one lifetime. Marie Valdez felt confident that Danny already knew every detail. They had been friends before they were lovers, and there were no secrets between them. Evie Sampson was certain James wanted to know nothing. She mentioned her past relationships back home in Denmark, noting that James preferred to keep those chapters of her life firmly closed. Jessica Rockfam also believed Doug already knew everything. They were a couple that talked about everything, leaving no stone unturned in their shared history. Mirror, mirror on the wall. The next question involved the husband's vanity. What was the last thing they were caught doing in front of a mirror that they never expected to see the light of day? Marie Valdez suggested Danny might be caught picking his nose while checking his nose hairs. It was a humorous, if slightly unrefined, prediction. Evie Sampson echoed this sentiment, fearing that James would also be caught in the act of nasal grooming. She joked that he would kill her for saying it, but the honesty of the moment was too good to pass up. Jessica Rockfam had a gentler view, imagining Doug simply primping and running his hands through his hair, a habit born of his frequent glances into any available reflective surface. Kim Garcia also chose primping, describing how Robert would check himself out from every angle, fully aware of his own good looks. The love slave bet. The final question of this round was a hypothetical one that tested the husband's stamina and the wife's perceptions of it. If the husband lost a bet and had to be a love slave for 24 hours, how long would he actually last? Evie Sampson started the bidding at 3 hours before quickly revising it upward to 10, and finally 15 hours. She seemed to have high confidence in James's Danish roots. Jessica Rockfam was less optimistic, predicting Doug would only last 6 hours before he would want his own turn to be served. Kim Garcia settled on 8 hours, stating that she wanted to boost Robert's ego without making the number so high that it became unrealistic. Marie Valdez also chose 8 hours, noting that Danny was quite good but 24 hours was a long time for anyone to maintain such a role. The bonus and the climax. Before the husbands returned, Bob asked a 25-point bonus question about their favorite juice flavor. The choices were orange, apple, cranberry, grapefruit, or something else. Jessica chose something else, Kim chose apple, while Marie and Evie both chose orange. The husbands returned, and the final tallying began. In the round regarding past relationships, every single couple managed a match. Danny knew every detail, Robert did not want to talk about it, Doug knew everything, and James preferred silence. The studio erupted as 40 points were handed out in a single sweep. When the mirror question came up, Robert admitted to checking himself out, which matched Kim's prediction of primping. Doug also admitted to checking himself out, matching Jessica's observation of him running his hands through his hair. James Sampson, however, gave an answer that no one expected. He claimed he was caught playing with his guinea pig, a creature named Chubby, in front of the mirror. He explained that he and Chubby simply hung out together, sometimes even taking baths. The audience was in stitches, but since Evie had predicted nose picking, there was no match. Danny Valdez also missed the mark, claiming he was dancing with his daughter, while Marie had stuck with the nose hair theory. In the Love Slave round, the men's egos were put to the test. Doug guessed he would last 12 hours, but Jessica had only given him 6. James guessed a modest 3 hours, while Evie had given him 10. Danny thought he could make the full 24 hours but predicted Marie would say 5, she had actually said 8. Robert Garcia was the most honest, claiming he would only last 2 hours. When he heard Kim had said 8, he laughed, realizing she was being much kinder to his reputation than he was. The road to Barbados. As the show reached its conclusion, the announcer John Kramer described the grand prize, a 6-night, all-inclusive stay at the Almond Beach Resorts in Barbados. It was a prize worth fighting for, featuring gourmet dining, multiple pools, and the romantic atmosphere of the Caribbean. The final scores were close. Everything rested on the favorite juice question. Danny Valdez guessed orange, which matched Marie's answer, bringing their total to 35. James Sampson also guessed orange, matching Evie and bringing their total to 40. Robert Garcia guessed apple, matching Kim's answer and pushing them to 45. Finally, it was Doug Rockfam's turn. With 25 points already, a match would bring them to 50 and secure the victory. Doug looked at the list of flavors and chose something else. Jessica's face lit up as Bob revealed her matching answer. The Rockfams were the champions. They hugged each other tightly, their joy radiating through the television screens of households across the nation. Bob Eubanks congratulated all the couples for their spirit and their honesty, reminding everyone that while the game was about points, the real prize was the love they shared. As the credits began to roll and the music swelled, Bob waved goodbye to the audience. The lights of the studio stayed bright for a few moments longer, capturing the laughter and the handshakes of 4 couples who had come to Hollywood as newlyweds and would leave with memories that would last a lifetime. The Newlywed Game had once again proven that in the dance of marriage, the most important thing is not always knowing the right answer, but being willing to laugh at the wrong ones together. From Hollywood, it is the Newlywed Game. And here are today is newlyweds. Couple number 1 exchanged rings a month and a half ago, Evie and James Sampson. Couple number 2 recited their vows 4.5 months ago, Marie and Danny Valdez. Couple number 3 joined together 15 months ago, Kim and Robert Garcia. And couple number 4 made it official 6 months ago, Jessica and Doug Rockfam. And now, here is the star of the Newlywed Game, Bob Eubanks. Bob enters the stage to a warm reception and thanks the audience. He welcomes everyone to the Newlywed Game and asks the 4 lively couples if they are ready to play. They respond with an enthusiastic yes. Bob decides to start the show by asking the husbands some questions. He asks the ladies to head off to the soundproof room. While the ladies are leaving, Bob reminds the husbands that he will be asking 5-point questions. Each husband must answer by predicting how his wife will answer the same question when she returns. If the answer matches the prediction, the couple gets 5 points. The couple with the most points at the end of the show wins a fabulous second honeymoon. Bob presents the first question to the gentlemen. He asks how many whoopee sessions their wives will say they had before the husband met her mother. The choices are under 5, over 10, over 20, or too many to remember. Doug thinks for a moment and says that before he met her mother, it was over 10. Bob asks if her mother knows that, and Doug says no. Robert is the next to answer and he says he would have to say under 5. He adds that he hopes that is the answer. Danny feels a bit more confident and says over 10. Bob calls him a rascal, and Danny proudly says he tries to be. James concludes the round by saying it was way too many to remember. Bob reacts with surprise at James's answer. The next question for the husbands is about domestic habits. Bob asks what is the one thing the husband keeps putting where he wants it, but the wife keeps moving it where she wants it. Robert struggles to find an answer at first. After some encouragement, he guesses the toothbrushes in the bathroom. Danny believes it is the remote controls. James thinks it is the house keys. He specifies house keys when Bob asks if it was car keys. Doug says the mail is always in a different place because his wife moves it. For the third question, Bob asks the husbands to complete a sentence. The sentence is my wife makes the strangest face whenever she does what? Danny says his wife makes a strange face whenever she passes gas, though he notes it is not that often. James says his wife makes a face whenever she does not quite understand something. Doug says his wife makes that look whenever she gets a little upset with him. Robert says his wife makes the strangest face whenever she is trying to put her foot down and trying to win an argument. Bob thanks the gentleman and announces a break. He says they will be right back to reunite the newlyweds and see how well the husbands predicted after some messages about groundbreakers and game show greats. Welcome back, everybody. The gentlemen have their predictions recorded on cards flat on their laps. Bob reminds them that each match is worth 5 points and the prize is a great second honeymoon. He starts with the first question for the ladies. He asks how many whoopee sessions they had before the husband met their mother. Evie says it was too many to remember because they lived together. This matches James's prediction, and they earn points. Marie also says it was definitely too many to remember. However, Danny predicted over 10, so they do not get the points. Kim says too many to remember as well. Her husband Robert had predicted under 5. Robert explains he remembered starting out really slow, but Kim disagrees. Jessica says it was over 20. Doug predicted over 10, so they do not match either. Next, Bob asks the ladies about the one thing their husband puts where he wants it but they move. Marie says the cordless phone. Danny had predicted remote controls. Kim says his shoes, while Robert had predicted the toothbrush. Jessica says all of his junk and papers, specifically his work stuff. Doug had predicted the mail, which Bob considers close. Evie says the key to the mailbox because it always disappears. James had predicted the house key. The ladies then answer the question about their strange faces. Kim says she makes a face when she watches television. Robert had predicted she does it when trying to win an argument. Jessica says she makes a face when she gets angry. This matches Doug's prediction of her being upset with him. Evie says she makes funny faces all the time but specifically when she gets mad at him. James had predicted she does it when she does not understand something. Marie says she makes faces when playing with their daughter. Danny had predicted it was when she passes gas. After another break, the husbands are secluded offstage and the wives must predict what the husbands will say for 10 points each. The first question is about past relationships. Bob asks if the husband wants to know every detail, already knows every detail, or does not want to talk about it in detail. Kim says her husband does not want to talk about it because he already knows a little bit. Marie says they were friends before, so he already knows everything. Evie says her husband definitely does not want to know anything about her past relationships back home in Denmark. Jessica says her husband already knows every detail because they talk about everything. The next question is about what the wife caught the husband doing in front of the mirror. Marie says she caught Danny picking his nose. Evie also says she caught James picking his nose. Jessica says she caught Doug putting his hands through his hair because he is always looking at himself. Kim says Robert was primping and checking himself out from every angle because he knows he is good looking. Then, Bob asks how long the husband would last as a love slave for 24 hours if he lost a bet. Evie thinks James would last 10 hours. Jessica thinks Doug would last 6 hours because he would want his turn. Kim thinks Robert would last 8 hours to boost his ego. Marie thinks Danny would last about 8 hours as well. For the 25-point bonus question, Bob asks for the husband's favorite juice flavor. Jessica says something else. Kim says apple. Marie says orange juice. Evie says orange juice. The husbands return to the stage to compare answers. Bob asks about the past relationships. Danny says he knows every detail, matching Marie. Robert says he does not want to talk about it, matching Kim. Doug says he knows every detail, matching Jessica. James says he does not want to talk about it, matching Evie. Every couple gets points. On the mirror question, Robert admits to checking himself out, which matches Kim's answer of primping. Doug says he checks if his stomach is too big or if his hair is right. This matches Jessica's answer of him running his hands through his hair. James says he was playing with their guinea pig named Chubby in front of the mirror. This does not match Evie's answer of picking his nose. Danny says he was dancing with their baby daughter, which does not match Marie's answer about his nose hairs. On the love slave question, Doug guesses he would last 12 hours, but Jessica said 6. James guesses 3 hours, but Evie said 10. Danny guesses 5 hours, though he thinks he could go 24. Marie said 8. Robert guesses 2 hours, which the audience finds honest. Kim said 8 to feed his ego. Finally, the announcer John Kramer describes the grand prize, a 6-night all-inclusive vacation to Barbados at Almond Beach Resorts. The final bonus question asks for the favorite juice flavor. Danny and Marie have 10 points. Danny guesses orange, which matches Marie's answer. They move to 35 points. James and Evie have 15 points. James guesses orange, which matches Evie's answer. They move to 40 points. Robert and Kim have 20 points. Robert guesses apple, which matches Kim's answer. They move to 45 points. Doug and Jessica have 25 points. Doug guesses something else, which matches Jessica's answer. Doug and Jessica Rockfam finish with 50 points and win the trip to Barbados. Bob Eubanks thanks the couples and the audience, saying goodbye until next time on the Newlywed Game.